Hello everyone, my name is Legend Ronnie and this game is Rise of Kingdoms. Now obviously we are back in the Lost Kingdom. This is third day after the level 5 pass opening. You're noticing that I'm not starting straight into the battle, so obviously there is a little bit of a change. That means the enemy are starting to give up. So I'm just collecting a rune. I was trying to do some random teleports because there is a little bit of skirmish. So just to show you the area first, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit more things. I want to talk about the builds that I have used in the Lost Kingdom, and then I'm gonna talk about what is necessary for Lost Kingdom, because obviously I have a 2-day experience now. I mean 2 days of crazy experience with very little sleep. So I just want to debate a little bit about that and give some tips and advices here and there where I can, when I can, what I can, and so on. So right now this is the only action that is happening right now. I think VNM tried to do something. I suppose trying to burn the kill flags. Obviously we were told, so now we are just helping them. Yeah, there is a Julius Caesar there in defense. I'm not sure if that is the best option. Not sure if you're noticing, but it's pretty much getting demolished. Yep, that does not look good. They're just losing troops without paying attention, so that is really bad if you want to ask me. I'm not sure if they're not paying attention, but obviously they just left their troops there to die, and the rally is just simply demolishing the troops. So that is simply a waste. It's obviously just one player, so yeah, probably free-to-play player who are always complaining that they get demolished and they lose their troops. Well, there you go, that's a very good example of free-to-play losing their troops without paying attention. Anyway, let's get back to what I was trying to say. So first of all, as my first Lost Kingdom experience, I have to say that troops, as many as you can, that is like the most priority and the most needed thing in this game. If you don't have troops, you have nothing. You have nothing. If you're a free to play, all you need to care about is having large amount of troops. So the way the map looks right now, you probably noticed that we shut down the gates. So the 2 gates that were having access to Mecca. So right now we have Kalka, Mecca, and Dimbokro, or something like that. And obviously UN is pushing back Kingdom 11. Yep, there's Kingdom 11 is pushing back Kingdom 11. They got 1 gate. They're obviously gonna get the other gate as well. And we secured 3 zone 5, if I don't call it like that. Only thing that's gonna remain is Okuri, which obviously is gonna be our next target, and that's where we expect for them to do their last stand. There's obviously gonna be just battles and field battles and burning flags, so there's small actions, if you want to call it like that. They're probably gonna keep trying to defend, spend time and all that, because this is basically not their territory, because we're gonna take it. So that's how the Lost Kingdom it is right now. Right now I'm gonna talk about my builds. And something that you guys always wanted to know, I just never wanted to show it, is the amount of troops that I have. So this is the amount of troops that I have. I didn't care about T5. So I have over 2 million on each. Infantry, well, I don't have over 2 million because I lost a lot. So obviously the power that it was dropped, it was the T4 troops that I lost. That's why my power is so low, because T4 troops, they don't give you that much power. They give you a much lower amount of power. That's what I was able to spam so much. Now you're noticing the amount of dead troops, 2.2 million, 2.3 million. So when I started the Lost Kingdom, I had about 350k dead troops. So that means I lost 1.9 million dead troops. So that's where is my highest power, which was 71 million. That's because I had a lot of tier 4 troops. Now why did I had a lot of tier 4 troops? That's because I can't afford T5s. So T5s are very expensive. All these alliances combined that we fought, including WWK, they have more T5 players than we do. They have more, but they have T5 troops. And they got to that point and they are realizing how expensive they are, how much speed ups they have to spend, how much resources they have to spend for T5, and they just cannot do field battles. So they were very limited at what they could do. But because I have T4, and obviously I'm spending in the game since they are max research, I was able to spam. So I was able to use my T4 as much as I want because the healing is very low compared to the T5, especially if you're a VIP 15. So if you're a VIP 15, the healing is kind of a joke, if you want to call it like that. So if I go into my research, you can see that I don't have research T5s, and I don't care to research T5 because I cannot afford it. I personally cannot afford it. The way the game is designed right now, I cannot afford T5. If I get sponsor, if I get donations for T5 to train T5, that's a different whole lot of story. But with my own money, I'm gonna be with T4 for the rest of my life, or for as long as I'm playing this game. T5, they have their value, don't get me wrong. T5 are very strong and very powerful, but I'm just not gonna train T5. They are too expensive for myself. If you're a free-to-play player, that is your main concern, having troops. If you want to do field battles, you probably have your perfect one build, two builds, which, you know, you can have fun. You can try have fun just chasing people, cabs or infantry or archers or whichever specialization you chose into the game. Obviously you can do that, but your main concern should never be to try to reach T5 or max out your research. Get City Hall 25 if you're a free-to-play player, and have 3, 5, 10 million troops. Just have troops to be able to spam and help your T5 players. That is your main concern as a free-to-play player. As I mentioned, you have your perfect 1-2 groups. That's just fine, that's lovely. You can do field battles and all that. Now, my pairs on the battlefield. My pairs on the battlefield were as following. I went with 4 Cavs groups, and I think I just yeah, this is another thing, guys, about drag and drop. So this is my first pair, Minamoto and Genghis Khan. Now the reason Genghis Khan is the second in command, that's because he's lower level. Genghis Khan is much better to be a primary commander, but because he's lower level, he's second in command. My Minamoto is level 60, so talent wise Minamoto wins, and that's why he's the main commander. So this was my first setup, which is Minamoto with Genghis Khan, full cav. This is my second full cav build, Pelagius with double C. When my double C is max skill, you're noticing that he's 5, 2, 1, 5. So I managed to max out his last one, which is very interesting. How my luck went like that. It's 5, 2, 1, 5. The reason I'm pairing Pelagius with double C is because of the double heal. So there is double heal and double rage restoration. There is 100 rage restoration with a 10% chance, plus healing and increasing troops march speed. Effect can trigger only once every 5 seconds. And then I have rage restoration from Pelagius, and I have healing from Pelagius as well, while they both also increase attack on cabs. So the combination and the synergy of the skills is just really good. And surprisingly, to tell you the truth, this was my last cav. This was my last build, or my last march that was actually going on yellow. So all of the 3, because they had no heal, they were the first ones All the other, they were the first ones that were going on yellow before Pelagius and Double C. Pelagius and Double C, they were always on white unless they were being targeted. And even if they were being targeted, for some reason they were pretty tanky, just because they had double kill. So I was pretty surprised how it performed, and I'm definitely gonna keep using them. So this is Pelagius and Double C. Minamoto and Genghis Khan. Now this is my third one, and this is probably one of the builds that everyone is very curious about, which I used. And right after I was using them, surprisingly there were a lot more players that were using them. So it's Baybars and Sun Tzu. Now it's very obvious why. Baybars is the main commander, because increase attack on your calves by 20%. And I used him with calves, which you can see the pre-setup already. If you click on the first one, because he has expertise attained, it does 1000 damage factor in a fan-shaped area up to 5 targets and reduce their march speed. This one is for attacking cities, which doesn't matter, and this one when he's leaving the battle. It grants some healing factor and march speed, and this is his expertise, which obviously is damage. Now the main reason I paired him with Sun Tzu, because Sun Tzu is expertise as well, so there is a 1000 damage, no sorry, this is Sun Tzu. It's 800 plus an additional 200, so it's the same 1000 damage factor, fan shaped area, and Sun Tzu gain additional 50 rage for each target hit by this kill. So basically both of them, they were kind of a machine of casting skills, if you want to call it like that, because there was always group battles. So the first one was reducing the march speed, the second one was doing damage and restoring rage, and it was keep going on and on and on. So that was Baybars and Sun Tzu combination. Plus there is increased active skill damage by 20%, and not to mention the master strategies. Increase troops damage reduction by 10%. So it's troops. It doesn't mention infantry, but the second one increased infantry units health. So basically you benefit a lot, and the synergy is quite awesome from these two commanders. So I was having slow and AoE damage in the same time. Then my fourth build is Belisarius with Hannibal Barca. Hannibal Barca will be replaced when my Saladin is gonna reach the required level. The reason I'm saying that is because this was my debuffing team. It was always being target, I never used it for damage, so that was a bit wrong from everyone, but probably they think that Belisarius is just weak, and they will keep targeting him. For me, it was very happy because this was never my nuking team. This was just for debuffing, because I was focus firing with 5 marchers every single time. So them focusing on this particular build was very good, because it was building rage. More damage march takes, more faster it builds rage. So there was debuff all the time. So for me, it was everything was going perfect. Now you're probably saying that Hannibal Barca does much better with mix of troops. That can go back and forth. You put him with mixture of troops, he's slow like a motherfucker. So honestly, you need mobility in the game. That's it. You need mobility. That's why I put him with cabs. The only thing I cared about was his main skill and his 4th skill for the 10% increased troops capacity. And obviously when battling outside, increased troops damage by 15%, after using a skill, which obviously works as well. It doesn't require a mixture of troops for that. So it was just the 1st and the 4th skill. Obviously his expertise was working, so he was debuffing literally 3 targets at the time, which is nothing wrong in that. Now the reason Belisarius is the main commander is because decrease it only lasts for 2 seconds. If you didn't know, the main commander, the time between the 1st and the 2nd skill is 2 seconds. So basically Belisarius cast, that's 1 second, and then there is another second which is pause, and then is Barca. And Barca does, his main skill is debuff for 5 seconds. So in total you have a 7 seconds debuff. One of them, they don't, it doesn't have any problems, but decrease damage by 20 and decrease defense. So that's the only reason, because it's the defense reduction. If Barca would be first, when Belisarius we're gonna do his, then you're gonna lose 3 seconds from Barca defense, because they both reduce defense. So basically you have a 7 seconds defense reduction. So I was just literally swarming even infantry. I just didn't care. Infantry was going down just like that. Then it comes my 5th group, since obviously I have a very powerful archer commander, and obviously I have a Frederick the First. So this was my 5th group that I was using, so I can make use of my Janissary, and it was doing awesome. That was insane amount of AoE. YSG Frederick worked very good. I have to say that I did rally a lot with archers. Probably I trimmed the archers from my alliance by 30% just rallying. Even myself, I lost 800,000 archers. This Mightiest Governor event, I only trained archers. So in this Mightiest Governor event, which apparently I'm rank 2, Master Troll, just, you know, pumping a little bit more. He went up to the first rank, but I only trained archers, so there's 38.5 million points, and mostly are just archers trained to be able to get my archers back. I was at 1.2 million archers, maybe less, after this war, just because I was rallying like crazy. And this is how effective my build was. I'm not sure where exactly it is, but it's probably here somewhere. Yes, so I've done the achievement of 50 million killed or severely wounded in 2 days of war. So this is how effective my build was, because I have very fast cavalry. Now in terms of talents, this is one of my builds which I already showed it in my Cavalry masterclass, if you guys didn't saw it. And the one that I actually used was this one. So this was the build that I actually used on the battlefield. I have to say that the reason I switched from this one was because my caps were literally too fast. My Minamoto and Genghis Khan was always being first on the battlefield. I hated a lot because it was the first being targeted, and it was my strongest nuking build. So I always had to pay attention to bring Minamoto back, and for that reason I switched to this build. I switched to this build and it was as fast as the other builds. And my Belisarius and Barca was always the first after I switched to this build, which was much better for me. I actually preferred this one over the other one. So that was my Minamoto. This is my Pelagius. Pelagius has the same identical build, except because he's not peacekeeping. So Minamoto, because he's peacekeeping, he had another extra 3% march speed from the peacekeeping. On Pelagius I just put 1% health, but it's as identical as it can get to Minamoto. Then probably the most anticipated one is Babers, which everyone wants to see. So obviously the skill, there's even more rage restoration from this part of the skills. Then because he has conquering, I went for 6% more march speed. You guys should know that I'm very fond of march speed, so I always find paths to get as more mobility as I can. I find it very important. And then I got the rest of the mobility from the cavalry tree. And at the same time, if you're noticing, I have pretty much all the stats that the cavs can get except 1% attack. Obviously I don't have reduced kill damage taken, the 12 but I have 10% damage reduction from Sansu because I pair him with Sansu, so it does have a little bit of tankiness as well. Plus, if it doesn't get targeted at the beginning, while the army led by this commander is at most than 90% straight, increase all damage by 9%, and then you get less counter attack. So that's quite a very good build, to be honest. And then is my fourth build with Belisarius, which I haven't changed it. It's fast enough. I could have take off the trophy hunter and just put more march speed, or I don't know, probably put some points in emblazoned shields. It was pretty much targeted all the time. I was also thinking to drop hasty departure since I wasn't actually needing it, but I'm using it for leveling, so I was like, you know what, just leave it. I'm not gonna bother, just leave it like that. I was using him for debuffing anyway, him with Barca, so it was fairly alright with him. The YSG build, you already know it. This is my double C build. I never used him as a main commander. It's very similar as Belisarius. They have the same talents, so very similar as Belisarius one. Right, well, that's pretty much what I have to show about my talent builds that I used. As I mentioned, you need troops in the Lost Kingdom. That is the reality, that is the truth. If you don't have troops, you have nothing. Right. Also, if you watch the live streams of the first and second day, I'm pretty much sure you probably noticed that I was fighting T5s as well, and wherever I was teleporting, at some point the T5s, they were just leaving. They were just leaving because they were just literally getting demolished by my 5 groups. Now, you're probably wondering, if I have 4 Cavs army, why am I with Ottomans? Why am I with Ottomans? I have 4 Cavs army. It would make pretty much a ton of sense to have stay with Spain or be Arabia, or not necessarily Byzantium, or maybe Germany. It would have make perfect sense, right? Well, the reason I'm with Ottomans is very simple. I have 5 nuking marches. 5. So every single march that I have does nuke damage. So increasing the skill damage of 5 marches is probably more important than anything. Then having more mobility is probably more important than anything. And then I make use of the Janissary, which is special units, and they have 5% health as bonus, which is nothing wrong in it. Plus having TF4 or even T5 if you afford them, or even T5 Cavalry. They are much faster than the special units, so the special units are much slower. So let's say if I switch to Arabia, which they have Memlocks, a T4 Memlock is much slower than a T4 Cabs. Obviously the Memlocks, they have extra stats and bonuses, but they are much slower. So I was abusing as much as possible on the field the mobility. I was literally just doing whatever I wanted, engaging in whichever battle I wanted, whenever I wanted. The only time when I actually lost troops was because of my fault. My hospital was half full. I was keep trying to heal small portions, because you can do like free healing. So all the time I was keep trying to heal more small portions, so I don't spend speed ups. And one time I took my armies out and the game crashed. I logged in, the game crashed again, so I just literally got swarmed by 5 marches and I had 72,000 dead. That was one time. After that I learned the lessons and I was keeping my hospital empty. I was probably more than half full, because 5 dead marches don't really give you that many severely wounded. Yeah, they don't. So I probably had more, but anyway, the point is I lost 72,000 dead troops. So I was always, after that, I was always emptying my hospital regardless. And if you check the hospital size in Lost Kingdom, because of the past glory event, once you complete the past glory event, it's 690,000 severely wounded. that can fit in your hospital. So yeah, even considering that, I still lost some troops because, as I mentioned, I was trying to heal a small portion of troops and just abusing the help button. If you keep getting helps over and over and over, you can actually heal your troops without spending speed ups. So I was trying to preserve because I was thinking that the war is gonna last much longer, but no, it didn't. Yeah, well, that's pretty much, I have to say, it was a lot to talk about. And again, that is the main reason why I have T4 troops. As I said, I cannot afford to play this way, the way I'm playing with T5. For me, for my own pocket, it would be too expensive. T4, yes, I can do it. I can spam T4 as much as I can. I haven't even spent the resources that I was expecting to spend. You can see that I still have over a lot of resources. Those, in terms of T4, the amount of resources that you see on top, like food, wood, and stone, is the similar. That will probably last me a day of war. A day of war. Now, ask a T5 player how long is gonna last him those resources. Probably 2 hours. Then you can make the difference. Why T4 and T5? I hope you do understand, and again, I hope you do enjoy this video. I was just trying to show you this part and explaining to you, because I was mentioning in my previous live stream that I'm gonna go 4 Cavs army. So yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this was my fighting force on the battlefield, and always you double click, you drag and drop all of them, and you just attack the same target. Attacking the same target with 5 nuking armies and a debuff team, which is pretty significant. Having a debuff team like Belisarius and Barca, it's quite interesting and it helps a lot. Now, as I mentioned, I'm gonna change Hannibal Barca with Saladin the moment I get more skills. I want the first 3 skills on Saladin maxed out before I'm gonna start using him. When I'm start using him, I'm gonna get him to level 60 6 star, and he's gonna be a main commander, and Belisarius is gonna be a second in command. It's gonna be a little bit of a problem, because if you're noticing, Saladin's skills last for 5 seconds, but deals direct damage factor and reduce target's march speed and decrease healing effect. So that's the only debuff that Saladin will do. But it will make a much better synergy Saladin than Barca. So I'm not gonna have such a crazy debuff as Belisarius and Barca, but because of the talents of the support pad, because of the rejuvenate, because of the amount of skill damage reduction that Saladin has, he's gonna be really tanky. And the amount of counterattack damage reduction that he has, and he gets even more from the talents, plus a decent amount of march speed, attack, defense to the Cavs. So it's pretty much exactly what I want. And because of the rage restoration from the support talent pad, Belisarius is also gonna be, they're gonna be like a machine of casting skills, so there's not gonna be anything wrong. So I'm just gonna use this build just for debuffing, either slowing the march speed, reducing the healing, or attack and defense, and boosting my Cavs as much as possible. There's 20% Cavs defense, and it's another 30% from Belisarius. I believe this build is gonna do very well on the battlefield. So that's how I'm gonna use once my Saladin is ready. It's gonna be Saladin main with Belisarius second for the purpose of debuffing. I don't see any other way I could you know, switch them around. So yeah, this is how I'm going to try. I can even make a 5th Cav army if I actually want, since Saladin can be the main commander, or if you actually want, you can put Julius Caesar a second in command, or you could put Mehmed a second in command if you want, or you can put Scipio, because these are universal commanders. There's nothing wrong with it. So yeah, if you want to have a 5th Cav army, you can use the 4 Cav army, which I already showed you, and then you can use Saladin, again a nuker, and you just use either another nuker if you want more AoE, a second in command, or probably even Frederick. Why not? I'm not suggesting to use Lancelot. Maybe Boudica if you like. But yeah, I would rather make, if you actually want to make 5 Cav army, I would rather go with Julius Caesar, or I would go with Mehmed for more nuking and more attack on my Cavs. That's what you want to make. So there you go, you can have your 5th Cav army with Mehmed. You have attack and skill damage, and you have AoE. There's not going to be anything wrong with it, and you can have your 5th Cav nuking army. Right, so that's pretty much what I have to say in this video. That's pretty much what I used. You saw the talent builds and everything. So until next time, this is your boy Legend Ronnie signing out. Peace out, yo, and take care.